and I went to see a neurologist, and they told me that they suspected I was suffering with Parkinson's. There were days when I literally could not move. He was having tremors in his neck, like Parkinson's symptoms. He was not able to get in and out of a chair on his own, in and out of the bed on his own, in and out of a car on his own. His mobility was so restricted.
It was 12 years ago. I was 53. I didn't even know what Parkinson's was. I had Parkinson's. At night, my legs would shake, my body would shake. I thought I was going to die. I mean, I really felt like I had lost control of everything.
5 years ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. I would also, my face, I couldn't smile anymore, took my smile away. When I walked, I couldn't even move my arms.
I put it on at his behest, and literally 5, maybe 10 minutes after I put it on, I could feel something happening in my brain. And the ice wave immediately, within a minute of putting it on, stopped the tremor in the neck. And within 3 days, he was able to get out of bed himself.
I'm walking without the walker. I'm doing a cane occasionally. I walk 2 miles a day around Novato, California, and I'm like living my life again.
I am so much better than I was. I'm not using any cane or any walking poles anymore. I am reversing the symptoms of Parkinson's. About
2.5 years ago, I started having a lot of issues with balance and gait, mobility, stiffness, muscle spasms, things like that. And then I started to develop tremors. So I went in at my doctor's recommendation, and I went to see a neurologist, and they told me that they suspected I was suffering with Parkinson's. So he started me on medication for it about 1.5 years ago. There were days when I literally could not move. I put it on at his behest, and literally 5, maybe 10 minutes after I put it on, I could feel something happening in my brain. It was so strange. It was almost like a tingling, lightheaded kind of busyness, and my mind immediately went to, it found the Parkinsons. So I was like, oh my God, what's happening in my head? But it wasn't unpleasant. It was just like, it was almost like it discovered it and it was looking around. So it was kind of weird, but I just kind of wrote it off because they said that there might be, something when I first put it on. So, so after 5 days, I noticed that with each passing day, my flexibility got a little better. And I was able to turn my head a little better. I was able to bend and actually tie my shoes without having spasms shoot up my back. Yeah, it was great. So then
what about you mentioned about being more clear-headed and your depression was changing.
Yes. After those first 5 days, I went back to get more samples, and then we ordered a order of them. And by the time about a couple of weeks gone by, I was thinking much more clearly. The brain fog was gone. I was, my energy level was incredible. I haven't had that much energy in literally years. And to make a very long story short, he was having tremors in his neck, like Parkinson's symptoms, and the ice wave immediately, within a minute of putting it on, stopped the tremor in the neck. But when the ice wave worked within a minute, that got our attention. And then the X39, the 49, and the Eon, he was not able to get in and out of a chair on his own, in and out of the bed on his own, in and out of a car on his own. His mobility was so restricted. And within 3 days, he was able to get out of bed himself. He
was invited by one of our neighbors to go for a walk in the sand. And he said, yeah, I want to go. And I'm thinking, you've only been getting out of the chair like 5 minutes ago. And he went for a 5-mile walk in the sand after just his third day of getting out of the chair on his own, after, almost a year of total immobility. It was a miracle.
First of all, what you were diagnosed with and
When?
how that affected your life at that time.
Okay, it was 12 years ago. I was 53. I didn't even know what Parkinson's was. I had Parkinson's, and they said it's usually men get it in their 70s, and I didn't even know what it was. I was in shock. I had no idea what I was in for. The nurse didn't really explain it to me, the doctor, and so I went blindly, just kind of figuring my way through the process. I lost my appetite. I lost my ability to walk freely. I started having dyskinesia, which was a complete loss of body movement. I mean, I would be flailing all over the place like I was having an epileptic fit. At night, my legs would shake, my body would shake. I thought I was going to die. I mean, I really felt like I had lost control of everything. I was headed for a wheelchair. I mean, I've been on a cane and a walker. I mean, this has just been like 4 years ago, but I bought a walker with a footstool on it so that I could be pushed around. I was that bad. I'd have to go into exercise classes with my walker. I mean, it was really embarrassing. It was really hard to go through, and I really wanted to just crawl in a rabbit hole,
And how old were you when you got the first diagnosis?
53. I'm 66 now.
Okay. Wow. So you were in your mind kind of doomed.
Yes, I was. I thought there would be no, end to it. Nobody was giving any, like there's no cure. Everybody's different with the Parkinson's. Your meds are different, everything, and they're not discussing any cure.
Tell us about when you said you would go into freezes.
Oh God.
What happened?
I was in San Francisco one day and I was getting something done and I walked across the street and I got stuck in the middle of a one-way 6 lanes. I couldn't believe it. I was frightened. The cars just stopped. They didn't know what to do. Some guy came by and put me on his back. And so I got a piggyback across the street. I mean, that happened a lot. I had to quit my job, which I loved. I worked in Point Reyes and I worked at an organic cotton shop and I loved it. I was their merchandiser and I had to quit because I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. It was just, it was so handicapping, so I would freeze and I would get the dyskinesia and I was getting a wheelchair. I was picking out a wheelchair to end up my life in. I was talking with this woman and we were on Nextdoor and somehow the topic came up that I had Parkinson's and she said, oh, I think I have something that will really do you right. And I said, what do you got? And I'm like, what do you got? Help me. And she said, I have these patches and X39. And she explained it. I said, bring them over. So she brought them over personally. And that was in the end of November, beginning of December. At the same time, I was told that I had to move, which I loved my house in Point Reyes. And I had to get another apartment or something, somewhere to live, which was devastating in itself. I mean, Parkinson's, you can't handle stress. It just flips you out. It turns you into a flailing, just crazy person. But with the patches, I had to move by December. And with the patches, I began them right away. I calmed down. I was able to pack my stuff up. I put it in my car and brought it to where I found a place. I'm living at my mom's house. I began walking and I started walking a lot. And I still would use the wheelchair the walker. But now I'm walking without the walker. I'm doing a cane occasionally. I walk 2 miles a day around Novato, California, and I'm like living my life again. I thought I had lost all my dreams. I didn't ever think I was going to travel again. I didn't think that I would be able to go to people's houses. I had to calculate if they had stairs or not.
What are your dreams now?
My dreams are I can travel. I really see that I can go somewhere on my own. I want to go to Greece really bad. I want to do what I do best, which is organizing and decorating homes. I mean, it seems like it's possible. I've got energy again. I'm happy, which I wasn't happy. I was miserable. I mean, it's just opened up my future, completely.
Well, it's been quite a journey for me. 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And for those of you who aren't real familiar with what happens when somebody has Parkinson's, it's a little different for everybody. But for me, I had no energy. I was depressed. I couldn't move very fast. I was to the point where I was almost shuffling. I was using a cane to get around and hiking poles. Terrible brain fog. I would also, my face, I couldn't smile anymore. It took my smile away. When I walked, I couldn't even move my arms. My neighbor and friend, Sandy Pagnos, brought over the X39 patch and had me try it. And I was totally open. I had no idea what it would do for me. But after a couple of weeks, I was noticing my energy was picking up. And then that was getting a little bit better all the time. And then I noticed my brain fog had gone. And I will tell you, I was at a point before I was diagnosed of, I was suicidal. I did not want to go on. I could not live like this. This was an absolute miracle, this patch that came my way. So little by little, things started changing. And, I walk straight. I am thinking much clearer. My anxiety, I had anxiety, that's gone. I'm sleeping better. I made a list of stuff. I was shuffling and I'm not anymore. I think I'd mentioned that.
And can you tell us what that means when you're shuffling? What does that mean?
My body felt like it was made out of lead. I couldn't move it. No matter how hard I'd try, I couldn't move my body and I couldn't move my limbs. It was absolutely horrible. And even my exercises, part of that is jumping up and down. I couldn't jump. If I jumped once, I'd have to sit down and catch my breath. It was so horrible. And now I can do that whole jumping for the whole duration, which is about 30 seconds, but that's a lot of jumping. And I don't even have to sit down. I mean, my energy is back. My mojo is back. I noticed too, before my eyes were like dead. There was nothing. They were just dead. And now the life has come back in my eyes. So my friends who hadn't seen me for a couple of years and saw me lately, they can't believe the difference in me. I was told that if I stayed the same, consider that doing better. Well, I have to tell you, I am doing a lot better and I'm not staying the same. I am so much better than I was. I'm not using any cane or any walking poles anymore. I am reversing the symptoms of Parkinson's. And I want to just say to anybody that has Parkinson's, you can get better. You can, The important thing is being consistent with these patches and staying hydrated. Those are the keys. Now I can smile.